Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. We still have folks that are coming into the webinar. As you join, can you please enter your name, your institution, organization that you're from, and where you're from coming today in the chats, just to introduce yourself. All right, looks like we've got folks coming in from everywhere, which is great. And I know we've had folks that have registered from all across the state. So it's good to have you here. And first off, I just want to say thank you for joining us today. I know the last 24 hours have been an emotional roller coaster for a lot of us. So I just want to be cognizant of that and just say thank you for joining us and taking the time to be here with us today. My name is Sean Robbins, and I'm the policy associate here at the Association of Community College Trustees, leading our work on strengthening rural community colleges. And I'm really excited here today for our webinar. We are holding this in partnership with the Rural Community College Alliance, RCCA, to really provide support to rural community colleges. And before we get started, I just want to share just a little snippet here of where everybody is coming from. This is our ACCT region representation. So we have 9 institutions represented from our Pacific region, 14 from our Western, 26 in Central, 19 in Southern, and 9 in the Northeast. So thank you for joining us here today. These are the folks that had from the registration. So we are excited to have you engaged for today's webinar. And throughout the webinar, please feel free to utilize the chat for any questions that you may have. Make sure you introduce yourself if you haven't already. And as a note, we are recording today's session, and we will be posting out the details of the recording and applicable resources. They'll be available within the next week, and you'll receive notification with that. So with that being said, today we are joined by Heather Singmaster. She is the Director of CTE and GECN for the Center for Global Education at the Asia Society. At the Asia Society, she focuses on international best practices and integrating global competence into career technical education programs, as well as state and national policy. Heather leads the Global Cities Education Network, a network of international cities focused on best practices sharing in education. She speaks and writes regularly on global education, including as the former host of Education Week's Global Learning blog. She previously worked at the Council on Foreign Relations, the American Association for Advancement of Science, and the Office of the United States Trade Representative. She holds a master's degree focused in anthropology from New York University and a bachelor's degree in international affairs from George Washington University. So without further ado, I will hand things over to you, Heather, and we're excited about today's webinar and discussion. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you, Steve. It's great to be here with you, and I was happy to see the Central region so strongly represented. I'm from Wisconsin originally, so go Midwest. So let me just share my screen here with you all. All right, so as Sean mentioned, I work at the Center for Global Education, which is currently housed at Asia Society. We are a nonprofit organization. We have offices around the globe. And although Asia Society is focused on helping to increase understanding about Asia by Americans, our education work is a little bit different in that we're more globally focused on preparing students to be globally competent and prepared to work and live in our interconnected world. So this is not going to be a presentation about Asia or Asia curriculum. It's really more about these global skills and competencies. So what I want to talk with you today about is to first define what global competence is and its importance for our students. I want to share examples of what different faculty and community colleges have been doing to promote internationalization and these global competency and diversity skills. And then throughout, I'll be sharing lots of different tools and resources. This is all grant funded work, so everything I'll be sharing is completely free for you to use. So to get started, this is our definition of global competence. We worked with stakeholders from throughout the field of education, higher education, K-12, business, parents, students, to really define what this means. And so I want to share just a quick 1-minute video that gives you a good overview of our definition.
There are 4 key elements of global competence. Global competence starts by being aware, curious, and interested in learning about the world and how it works. Students are able to ask globally significant questions, analyze evidence from multiple sources, and develop an argument that draws defensible conclusions. Students recognize that they have a perspective and someone else may or may not share it. They weigh all sides and from that incorporate different perspectives into their point of view. Globally competent students effectively communicate their ideas with diverse audiences, including through the use of appropriate technology. While English is the primary language of business, speaking another language is important for collaborating across borders. By applying what they have learned, students can translate their ideas into appropriate actions to discover solutions for both local and global challenges. We now face a critical imperative to prepare all students for work and civic roles in an environment where success increasingly requires the ability to compete, connect, and cooperate on an international scale.
Okay, so we know that our students need academic skills, of course. They have to be able to read and write and do arithmetic. And for those in the technical programs, they need those hard skills, the technical skills to help them succeed. But it's the employability skills that sit in between those. You may call them career readiness skills, workforce readiness skills, 21st century skills, or soft skills. But we know that these are the skills that can help get students hired, but can also get them fired. And these are the things we talk about, like problem solving and critical thinking. And we saw in that first domain of global competence that investigate the world, that being able to solve problems and apply those skills both locally and globally, realizing that what happens locally is affected by what happens in the rest of the world. We see this today with the Ukraine situation, with the supply chain issues with China, climate issues, all these things that we can't solve on our own and that we need to know about to be knowledgeable US citizens. But these skills are also things like communication and teamwork. And so by teaching those skills through this global lens, students will be able to communicate with diverse audiences. They'll be able to work on teams with anyone from anywhere, whether that's because they're working for a large global company or they're working with people who don't look like them locally, or maybe who do look like them but have different opinions. So by teaching through this global lens, we're kind of teaching these skills plus giving them a leg up on others who don't have these skills, and really helping them succeed in any environment. And as we think about the fact that more and more people are working from home, they're really, even if you're in a very rural area, you're still going to have that interaction, whether you're using these platforms for marketing and selling things, or maybe you're online and doing gaming or Facebook, there's still this international interaction that can happen. So what we've been working on, and this is all funded through the ECMC Foundation, are tools and resources to help community colleges bring these skills into the classroom. And we've been focusing on our technical programs specifically, although a lot of these tools can be used for the humanities as well. But we really find that a lot of community colleges have an international office, but that they're focused maybe on study abroad or international students, or perhaps more on the humanities side. So we saw this gap in providing these types of skills for our students in our technical programs. And we really want to be preparing all students for the global workforce, as well as to be knowledgeable citizens in this interconnected world. And So we've a lot of benefits for community colleges, and we know that there are by having faculty who teach in a more open-minded, respectful way, bringing in diverse backgrounds into the classrooms. We help our diverse students feel more included. We differentiate our instruction more for every student, so we lead to more persistence. It also can help recruit more diverse students into the classroom, as well as recruit more diverse faculty, which is something that I know many of you are working on in your strategic plans. For our students, it leads to higher job placement. As we'll see in a minute, I'll show you some stats around what businesses are looking for. And of course, we want to be providing cutting edge professional development for our faculty. So more specifically, what we've been creating, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this here, I'll share more later, but we've been creating online professional development modules to really help faculty learn how to integrate this into what they're doing, not overhaul their entire curriculum, but find little ways to integrate this so that students have this exposure. We also have modules for students, and those can be assigned by faculty, or students can take them on their own. And we have a free online toolkit of resources, and we also offer in-person or virtual workshops. So these are the faculty professional development modules. I'm going to go through these in a minute, so I'm not going to share these now. But I do want to point out the toolkit, which is at asiasociety.org/CTE toolkit. And I think Sean will pop that into the chat for me. And as we go through, I'll share some of these resources with you. And this is the main place where you can find them. I'm not going to go through all of these because there's a lot, as you can see, but I'll pull out a few things I think will be of interest. So I organized this presentation by the faculty development modules, just so you can get a better feel of some of the content, but then also learn about some of it yourselves. So the first module really starts out with, why is global competence important? And so we look at what different CEOs and HR professionals say, and we have some different business clips in there, clips from business leaders, videos. But we've looked at all of these different surveys that show that CEOs want people who are comfortable working with not only customers, but also colleagues from diverse cultural backgrounds. We know that we don't want that same groupthink, that diverse teams are more innovative. And so they want people who start jobs to have those experiences already of having worked with people who have different viewpoints. They don't want to teach these skills on the job. They want to hire for them. And they believe they're actually losing business because they don't have people with international expertise. So again, helping our students to have these skills can help them get hired and then move up that career ladder. And so we put all of this, we kind of laid out the case in this Preparing Tomorrow's Workforce white paper, which we published together with AACC, as well as ACTE and Advance CTE. So this is a free download on our website as well. So I wanted to do a bit of an activity with you, just so that it's not just me talking at you for an hour. But this is an activity to help you think about why these skills are important and why we can, by giving them to students now, we can help prepare them for the future. So this is a quick, harmless little activity. It won't hurt. You can be anonymous. You're going to be students. So I'd like you to go nearpod.com, which is up on the screen here. And you can just open nearpod.com in a new browser window just on the internet or on your phone. You don't have to be looking at Zoom. And when you get there, you'll be a student. So go to that red box and enter the code WS4TY. I think Sean will put that into the chat box for you as well, so you can copy it. And I'm just going to switch my share over to Nearpod. And so when you get there, it'll ask you to, and the code here is on my screen again here, WS4TY. It's nearpod.com. You'll just have to put in a name. You can just make up any name you want, or you can put your real name if you want to. So I'll give you a minute to get over to Nearpod. All right, good. We have a bunch of you. I'll give you another 30 seconds to log in. So again, it's that WS4TY and you're a student. So just pop that into the student box and that should get you right into the Nearpod. All right, so we'll get started while people are logging in. So what I'd like you to do is think about an innovation that will exist in the future, something that doesn't exist today. It could be, I always like to use the example of flying cars because, you know, the Jetsons took place in what, 2018 or 2019, and we still don't have our flying cars. So in the bottom there, you can type in your ideas. Just do one per box and hit enter. I love smell-o-vision. That's a great idea. So any ideas you think of, things that a new experimental, something that maybe you'd like to see? Robot US postal delivery. Ooh, I think that will happen. Holodeck. That's a great one. I've done this many times. I've not gotten the US robot postal delivery, but that's a great idea. All right. Lots of good ideas coming in. Keep them coming. Put in as many as you can think of. And then don't like any yet. We're going to do that in a second. Ability to transport, teleport, that one comes up quite a bit. Drone food delivery. Do we have some drone Amazon stuff, right? But I guess not actual restaurant delivery yet. Ability to do schoolwork remote. All right. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Roadkill free highways. Very clever. That would be nice. That would save a lot of animals. Computers that spit out money like ATMs. Ooh, I like that one. Can it just be any money, or does it have to be the money in my bank account? All right, intraneural networks. All right, we've got some really good ideas here. Okay, so you each get 2 likes. So click the heart button on the 2 ideas that you like the most, and we'll see what kind of pops up to the top. So go ahead and click the little heart button on 2 of these ideas. We have a lot of good ones.
Heather, I'm not sure that we can see. I actually did this exercise. I'm only seeing what I put in, so I'm not sure.
Oh, you can see everybody's. Okay. Oh, that's odd. Okay. Students can see names. Students can post and post. Oh, Oh, I see. I have it on so that I have to approve all your posts. Now, can you see them?
There we go. Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right. Now go ahead and read through them all and click on the likes. All right. Lots of people want their computer to spit out money like ATMs. Okay. What we have here. All right. It looks like computers that spit out money like ATMs is our most popular idea today. I can see why. All right. So this is our future innovation, computers that are basically ATMs. So now, what careers would be needed to make this a reality? These could be current careers, or they could be future careers. Something that will be needed to careers who will be working on this innovation so that we have computers spitting out money. Engineers, definitely. Okay, we have lots of engineers, cybersecurity, banking, people in banking, any STEM job, universal designers, new treasury innovators, software programmers, economists, delivery drivers. This is, to deliver the money. How are we getting the money into everybody's computers? Good point. Advanced manufacturing, programmers, counterfeiters, Counterfeiters, oh no, who's counterfeiting the money? Printing experts, designers, architects, teachers, always need teachers, right? All right, we've got some good ideas here. So you again get 2 likes. Which job is the most interesting to you, or do you think will be the most needed to make our new innovation of computers that spit out money happen? So go ahead and like 2 of them. I'm kind of tempted to like counterfeiters, but all right, we've got engineers bubbling up to the top. Oh, cybersecurity. Let's see, most likes. Organize it by most likes. All right, say cybersecurity. Engineers, oh, they're tied. Engineers. All right, it looks like engineers have won. I like new treasury innovators too. I think for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to go with Jill's idea of new treasury innovators. Okay, so this is a job that is kind of new, right? Because they're going to be dealing probably specifically, just because this is going to be a big job, working specifically with computers that are spitting out money like ATMs, right? So we have this new treasury position. So you're going to have, you have a student right now in your college who one day, we know everybody changes careers every, how often they're going to have 5 different careers in their lifetime. So you're preparing a student who one day is going to be a new treasury innovator, and this is going to be their job. So what academic and technical knowledge is needed for this job? Things that they should be learning right now in the classroom, even though you have no idea that this is what they're going to be doing. So let's think about the academic and technical knowledge. Let's save the soft skills for a minute. But what academic technical knowledge is necessary if you are a treasury, you're going to be a treasury innovator, somebody working at Treasury who's going to be in charge of regulating these computers that are spitting out money in people's homes. We've got macroeconomics, yes, understanding of regulatory issues, computer fundamentals, of course, economics, lots of math, currency conversion, yes, because I hadn't even thought of that yet. We're going to have different currency in all these different computers around the world, right? Critical thinking, knowledge of political systems. I like that, interesting. Computer programming, all of these different things you're going to have to understand to be able to regulate this new innovation. Financial literacy, hands-on tech building, critical thinking, communication, accounting, yes, definitely. Green and sustainable energy, yes, as we're thinking about how to make this happen. Investing. All right, so we have a lot of different hard and technical skills here, all of things which we can already be teaching for to really prepare students to be lifelong learners and have all these different careers. So next, what are the global skills and competencies? A few of you put a few of those ideas on the previous board, but let's think about them again. So soft skills, global skills, those global competencies. Critical thinking for sure. Cultural awareness, because you'll be dealing with countries around the world probably who are going to be dealing with this new innovation of money spitting out in our homes. International business, foreign language, monetary systems, yes. Linguistics, knowledge of currency systems, yes. Society and social thinking, definitely. How will people actually use these? International monetary policy, trade policies, exchange rates. I don't see, but we have some language skills, but communication skills in general, I think. All right, so these are all great ideas. So what you get from this exercise is that we really are preparing students for a future that is uncertain. But the skills that we give them now can help them no matter what their future jobs are. And focusing on these soft skills, again, can really get them a foot in the door as they're thinking about how they're changing careers or even what career they're going for now. So I just like to do this to get us thinking about the applicability of these skills across jobs and into the future as lifelong learners. In this tool, Nearpod, I like using, if you're faculty, it's great because it can be anonymous. You can kind of control what's happening. Students like it because they can just pop their ideas in there and it gets everyone thinking and talking. So I think it's free for up to 20 users. So after that, it's a small fee to use it. But that's just something to kind of get us thinking about the importance of these skills and how they cut across different career areas. So the next module in going back to our faculty professional development modules, the next one is around developing a global program. So this one is actually at the administrator level. So if you're an administrator, this would be a module that you might be interested in. We provide a self-reflection tool to really help you think about where are areas where you already have these international connections. And we have 7 different areas on here. Or where do you need to really start? Where might it be too hard? And you kind of want to set that aside and start on some areas that are more strengths first. But it's really to get you thinking about, where's the low-hanging fruit and where can we build on what we already have. So this is an example of just the first section. And again, this was designed for administrators to think at the programmatic level within technical programs, but it can easily be applied to humanities programs. You just take out the CTE. And so let's look, this is institutional commitment, which is the first place to think. So let's look at the second one for a second. Internationalization is included in your institution's mission statement. So think about your mission statement and pop into the chat. Does your mission statement contain anything that's globally focused or connected? It could be, world-class skills. It could be globally competitive, preparing students for a global world. Global citizenship sometimes is in, but think about your mission statement and just say in the chat, yes or no, does it have any kind of global connection in it? Sometimes you have to be creative and think about that. Maybe it's world, maybe world is in there, world class. Diverse perspectives, yes. Seeing a lot of no's. All right. So that could be an area to build on, something to look at and think about. What are the main industries in your area? What are the businesses in your area? Do we need to be preparing our students to work for those? And can we think about that as part of the mission, or can we think about, is it in our goals and strategies? And if you do have it in your mission statement, that's a great place to start if you're thinking about how you talk about this work with others, whether it's other trustees, it's other administrators, it's your faculty. You can put up that mission statement and say, look, we're supposed to be preparing our students for the global economy. What are we doing to do that? And it's a great way to kind of always frame the discussion and keep that front of mind, so you make sure you're committed to that mission of your college. And you can look across your different colleges and maybe it's different, but there are different ways that it can be articulated. So this tool will help you kind of think through the different ways you may have this articulated within your campus's needs. So Sean, thank you for just popping the next link into the chat box. We do have all these resources for administrators on our website. So even if you don't take the module, these are all free and ready for you. That self-reflection tool is there. The other thing we have is an administrator's guide. And this walks you through all the professional development modules. It has what each one focuses on, as well as all the resources in there. There's discussion questions if you wanted to have faculty or administrators look at one module and you wanted to, kind of have a debrief on it. There's also possible deliverables that you could have faculty do if you wanted to have them do these modules on their own time and get some professional development credit or points, whatever you use. We have ideas for what those deliverables to you could be. This is another tool and resource that you have there for you as administrators. So the next modules really get into the heart of, okay, I'm faculty and I want to start adding some of these international pieces, these global pieces into my courses. How do I do it? So we start with having them think about how do they engage all their students. And we say diverse here, but diversity, of course, can mean many things. Students with learning differences, disabilities, students who are different religions, students from different cultural backgrounds who speak different languages, LGBTQ. So all these different types of diversity. And so we have faculty start by really thinking about, do they know their students? And if not, how can they get to know them? Because this can help first bring in those diverse perspectives into their classrooms as students are willing to share them. It can help them really make sure that they understand where students are in their career preparation and where they need to go. It can also help activate that background knowledge that students already have and help them connect to what they've previously learned as they're learning new things. So really helping them to differentiate and make all students feel encouraged or engaged in the classroom. So we have a few different tools that we share in this module, and we have faculty think about how they could use them, from a questionnaire about how getting to know your students, different conversation starters that they can use in the classroom or have as writing prompts, whatever makes sense for their classes. And then the CTE journey assignment, which is something to help get to know where your students are specifically in their career preparation and what skills they need to learn yet. We also, and this is a good tool for administrators, we looked at the intersection of social justice and global competence. And so what we mean by global social justice is, are we engaging all students in respectful collaborative learning experiences? So really teaching students to value and respect the perspectives of others. Again, whether they look exactly like them but have different opinions, or they're from diverse backgrounds. And looking at international sources for possible solutions. So realizing that we don't know everything here in the US, but things that are taking place in other countries could influence us, and they could also pose solutions for some of the things that we face here, some of the local challenges. It's also about creating a program culture and selecting curricular materials, again, that reflect students' backgrounds, so we more deeply engage them. And then providing equal opportunity for all students to participate in these types of internationalized classes, learning activities, and work-based learning. And we actually have 2 modules specifically around work-based learning and how we can reinforce these skills with our work-based learning and business partners. This is just the framework around global social justice. And for time, I'm not going to go through all this, but you can download it on the website. It's about 4 pages. It talks about what it means and then how you can go through this process of analyzing and thinking about integrating this within your own campuses. And so then the next 2 modules are really focused on helping faculty look at a syllabus. So they're supposed to take a syllabus and then first look at their learning objectives and think about where a global connection or diversity connection fits within those existing learning objectives. If they want, they can add another one, but we're really about integrating and not making this a huge add-on to what they're already doing, but thinking about, could they add a comparison to another country? Could they have students think about something diverse in their state? Could they think about a sustainability issue or a climate issue maybe that's affecting you locally? And then we have them think about what activities can they add, or can they just change slightly within their curriculum to reinforce and teach these skills. And so we always tell faculty, start small, start with one project, even start with one question as a way to, test this out with students and then build from there. So that's what these 2 modules kind of take them through, that bulk of the work of thinking about how to add these international perspectives. And so I wanted to share some examples with you of what this looks like for different faculty and different campuses across the country. This example is from North Carolina, from Central Piedmont Community College, and it's from a firefighting first responder professor, Professor Ripple. And he, for many years, has been doing one international assignment per semester for his students, who are mostly career firefighters. And so he wants them to be open to knowing that their way of thinking isn't the only way of thinking, and also help promote trust and morale, both among those working in the fire station, realizing that they are going out into life or death situations every day, but also to build that trust and morale within their local community. And so students are really highly engaged on these projects, and he says that they produce some of their best work on these global assignments. These are two faculty members from Davidson Davie Community College, also a rural college in North Carolina. I'm going to share Leanne Norris's video here. She's in pharmacy tech program, and she talks about adding the global perspectives piece into her curriculum.
Hi, I'm Leanne Norris. I am the faculty program director of the pharmacy technology program here at Davidson County Community College. I am fascinated with the opportunities our students have to participate in a global education here at Davidson County Community College. Therefore, when looking for new curriculum for our Pharmacy 110 Introduction to Pharmacy course, I knew that I wanted to seek out a program that would incorporate global content. Pharmacy technicians who work either in retail or the hospital setting, and practically every other setting as well, will be working with diverse populations throughout their entire career. As you can see, our new curriculum here has a module, multicultural awareness and cultural competency. The learning objectives, I hope you can see clearly as well. What I like about this chapter is the link that it makes between cultural competency and patient safety. I have a personal goal to incorporate global content to as many of our courses in the pharmacy program as possible. I believe that we can travel around the world through the people we meet, and I want to encourage each of my students to take advantage of this very unique opportunity at a community college that really offers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to participate in a global education. I hope this helps you as you are thinking about incorporating global content into your courses. And if you have any questions, I am happy to answer and help in any way. I hope you find this information helpful.
So Davidson Davie has been doing a lot of work around global and helping faculty and providing opportunities for students to earn different types of certificates, which I'll talk about more in a minute as well. This is Dane. I saw him present recently at a conference around his virtual welding exchange project. So he's at Kirkwood Community College in Iowa. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, his international office came around, did presentations to different programs and said, well, you're all going virtual. What about considering doing virtual exchange as a way to integrate some global content into what you're teaching? And Dane wanted to increase the diversity in his program. And so he raised his hand and said, you know, I'd like to try this out. And so he just I think it was last fall, finished up this project that he did with a professor in Brazil, as well as with a professor in Canada. So they met the previous semester to kind of plan out what they were going to do. And they decided on their project. And then during the course of the semester, students met regularly via Zoom from all 3 countries, and they had different assignments that they did in between. And so I know nothing about welding, but he explained that they used a different type of gas in their welds, one that you're not really supposed to use. And so each school had a different way to test the results. So then they got together and compared the results. And so students really learned this standard. They learned this course content, and they're always going to remember it because they did this global virtual project. And for his students, the cultural competency piece, they tried to do some explicit teaching around cultural competence, but he said just working with the students in Brazil, which is a very different culture, was very eye-opening for them. It really helped his students to have better communication skills because many of them were very shy, and they had to be presenting their work every month with these international students. And then they had to work on teams, and they had to really lead and make sure that they were getting their pieces done because they had these other students in other parts of the world who were, depending on them to get their work done. So he really found a lot of great outcomes from doing this virtual exchange project. And so one of our modules for faculty is actually a how-to on how to do virtual exchange. It's a step-by-step process to get faculty started if they're interested in using this as the way to internationalize their course. This example is also from Iowa. It's from Hawkeye Community College, from their Global Agricultural Learning Center. Brad Kinsinger, who leads that work, is going to talk a little bit about the method that they've been using to bring in some different global issues related to ag to his program.
We truly live in an interconnected world, and agriculture is no exception. It is a priority of ours to engage students with global and international perspectives to be competitive in the workplace and in their future endeavors. Some of our students have never left the state of Iowa or even our local service area. But when they realize that every 5th row of soybeans we produce in Iowa leaves the United States, it becomes evident very quickly that international trade and partnerships cannot be ignored. Students, graduates, and local farmers are always asking me what is happening in Brazil, Argentina, China, and other countries regarding agriculture and how it will impact us and our markets here in Iowa and the United States. Furthermore, we are hearing more and more from employers the importance that students develop global competence in order to engage and serve diverse individuals and populations. This could not be more evident in a virtual webinar series that we launched within the past year. While sitting at home during the pandemic, we had students and agribusiness professionals connecting across North and South America, as well as Europe, to learn from one another and gain insight on how one country's actions may impact another. We had top leadership from John Deere, New Holland, Corteva, Stein Seeds, Summit Agricultural Group, and others support this endeavor through participation and sponsorship. Their continued support provides evidence of the importance of empowering students in internationalizing our curriculum and providing students with a global perspective. It could be through webinars, lessons within courses, blogs, or international picture investigations. The opportunities are truly endless.
So that's something that an opportunity that they provided for all their students in their ag program was to participate in these webinars with global leaders from all these big companies, both here in the US as well as internationally. The last example I want to show you is from Ivy Tech Community College System in Indiana. They offered their students a global studies certificate option, or they just introduced a new program during the pandemic called the Global Workforce Skills Certificate Program, which is more aimed at students in the technical side. So students take a certain number of internationalized courses and do some other activities, and they can earn this additional certificate. So this video is about the Global Studies Certificate specifically.
Want to succeed in a global economy that's becoming more interconnected every day? Then go for a Global Studies Certificate from Ivy Tech. Today, diversity is the face of commerce. Not only are U.S. businesses expanding into different areas of the world, but we are also hiring our workforce from all corners of the globe. Not only will you be interacting with people from vastly different cultures, you will also be competing with them.
Well, we do everything possible to make sure our students do succeed. The Global Studies Certificate enhances a student's portfolio. It enriches, beefs up their resumes. It gives them that boost, I think, that makes them competitive when they are looking toward internships, scholarships, grants, and things like that.
Cummins is very much a global company. We're headquartered here in Columbus, Indiana, but we have over 54,000 employees worldwide. Diversity is one of our core values, and a big piece of that diversity is having a global perspective. And for us to be successful in our businesses around the world, we have to have people that are able to embrace that global diversity and really work very well with a variety of different cultures.
I think it's probably one of the most valuable tools you can have in a toolbox as an employee or an employer. I mean, anything that aids in communication with your customers, your guests, your employees, you can't beat that.
I think it just helps you to keep an open mind that there's other ideas and out there, and just because it wasn't your idea doesn't mean that it's not a good idea. I think it'll just help me work better with people, understanding that we're all different, but we all sort of want the same things.
Our Global Studies Certificate program offers immersion in various world cultures with the goal of encouraging collaboration, analyzing historical events, and embracing complexity. Visit our website to learn more about it.
So the workforce readiness skills one focuses more on the skills we've been talking about, but that's another option for campuses as well. Many colleges are starting to offer these types of certificate programs for students. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'm happy to talk with anyone. So the real last thing I want to share, and then we'll have some time for questions, are our student modules. So we've been creating some modules specifically for students to help them learn about these skills. They're, again, all free, and they can either be assigned by faculty, and this is another way they can help internationalize their courses, or students can take them on their own. Again, they're online and interactive, each about 15 minutes to watch straight through, although there's reflection activities throughout, so they can take students between 20 to 25 minutes. They're for post-secondary community college students, but we wanted to make sure we covered dual enrollment as well. So they're also appropriate for high school students, and they can earn a certificate of completion when they finish. And starting in the fall, we'll also have some badges available that they can earn. And then we also have a full toolkit of resources for students as well. These are the modules just quickly. The first one really defines what global competence is, and we have a self-assessment that students take to see where they're at in their global competency skills. The next one talks about, of course, why are these skills important, both for work as well as for life in our interconnected world. And then the third one has students think specifically about the career pathway they're interested in and what those global skills look like within that pathway. So we have some tools for that, as well as videos of employers from different career fields talking about the global nature of their jobs. And then the last one is around students thinking about, if they don't have these skills, how can they gain them? And then how can they articulate the skills that they do have? We heard from our faculty advisors that often students have these skills, but they just don't know how to talk about them in an interview. And so that's one thing that we focus on in that module as well. And our pilot group really, really liked this last module, as well as the ones that really link them directly to their own career fields to see how these skills are actually used on the job. So within the toolkit, I think we've just popped in the direct link for those as well, but you can also find them in the students toolkit with the students modules. And then the last thing I'll say is for those modules, the student modules, we have activities to help faculty to use these in the classroom. So if students have watched the modules, we have some activities to kind of extension activities to go along with those. They're kind of pick up, ready to go for faculty. We heard from some faculty in our pilot that some of the content they wanted to teach first in their classes. They thought would be easier, or they thought it would help get their students more engaged if they taught some of the concepts first. And so we created resources and materials for teachers if the students haven't watched the modules and they want to teach some of this. So again, it's all, the plans and things are all ready to go for faculty. So they can use them in multiple ways. We really wanted everything to be very flexible and modifiable and meet the needs that faculty have in their classrooms. So I'm happy to answer any questions now. You can also feel free to reach out to me. My email is here, and that's my LinkedIn QR code. That top link again is for the toolkit, where you can find all those resources. And that second link is for those student modules. Again, I'm also active on Twitter, so my Twitter handle is there as well.
So feel free to put questions into the chat. We'll be monitoring them and addressing them as quickly as we can. And while people are entering questions, I just wanted to make a comment. It was very interesting to see when we asked the question about institutional mission statements and that globalization component. And I know that a lot of community colleges, you know, traditionally are anchors in a local community or service region. So it's, but now we're seeing how, you know, things are changing and you have to start thinking outside your local service area into these, or whether international companies are moving into your service areas. And so they're going to be doing business across the world. So it's a shift in mindset, which I think is going to keep us competitive moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And you heard Brad talking about that too, and that the agriculture, I think ag is a good example because there are a lot of big agribusinesses and they can't get enough workers because a lot of, you know, people want to stay in their local community or on their local farm, but there's all these great opportunities for them out there in the world of work. And a lot of these jobs now can be done from home too. So you can kind of have both.
Right. Right. And Joel asked a question. This recording will be up on our website. There'll be a link on our rural initiatives tab.
Let's see, are these successful efforts usually start at faculty level or at the presidential provost level? We like to say you kind of have to do it from both. It's great to have some faculty buy-in, but you do need that higher level administration, I think, to buy in as well and to show that you support this and that, you know, what faculty are doing is appreciated and needed and that they have support to do this work. So I think top down is great, but I think you also have to have that faculty buy-in. So like I've been working a lot with Ivy Tech and they have their global workforce skills. So I've been working to train more faculty to internationalize their courses so that they actually have the courses to offer for the students to take the certificate program. So it was an initiative started at the top, but they really need to get faculty on board as well. So it's kind of both and, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. And I can make my slides available too. I think Sean has them, so can send them out.
Yeah, we'll have all of the presentation here, the slides and the recording is all going to be up on it. Just put on the link there to our Strengthening Rural Community Colleges initiative. So feel free to take a look from there. It'll be posted up within the next week.
I'll put my email directly in the chat box too, in case anybody wants to copy it over.
Does anyone have any other questions? I think one thing we need to think about is, Heather mentioned earlier on these essential skills or these job readiness skills. And, you know, I was in a workforce development division at an institution in Maryland, and the employers, and I know everyone on this call hears the same thing from employers about, you know, I can train for the, you know, we want them to have a baseline technical skills, but it's these, you know, workplace readiness, it's this interaction, communication, conflict management, those types of things. This globalization is just one more piece of that puzzle. So framing it in that perspective might help, you know, integrate some of this stuff more into your institution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think starting with those essential skills and teaching them through this global lens, then it's that, you know, it's not necessarily an add-on, it's that integration piece, I think. So
right.
You're something you already do, you're just adding that in. What could you see as a way to promote a global study certificate that might leverage those resources as an overlay to existing programs and curriculum? So the way that people have been promoting the global study certificate is kind of showing the need for these skills, and then having faculty on board who have already internationalized their courses. It can help drive enrollment in some of those courses as well, because now students are thinking about, oh, they want to earn this certificate. How can they do that? So I think that's one way to kind of promote the two. And I think showing, how having such if you can get and 2 of the modules are really talking about how to get your workforce and business partners on board with this. But if you can have them recognize the importance of this certificate, that can really then help students understand the importance of these skills, want to get their certificate, and then want to enroll in these courses to earn it. I don't know if that completely answers the question.
He had a follow-up. So basically programs first, then a certificate link later.
Well, I think, so I've seen it done both ways. I often see there's one college I'm working with in Texas now that they're starting their program. They've got everything in place, and then they're asking faculty to send their existing courses. They have kind of a list of these are the things that make your course international. Go through and see if you have it, you can submit that course, and then it'll be approved for the certificate. So they're starting the certificate first, and then they're going to kind of do this analysis of what they already have that's global, so that they can get it started now. And then they're also trying to train more, because again, it's mostly the faculty in the humanities who have these. So now we're looking at how do we train the faculty in the technical programs to internationalize, so that we can make sure that those students, that equity piece, so those students can have access to this certificate as well. So it's often started first at the top, and then you look at what you have existing programs and curriculum, and then you build it up. And that's great, Danny, that you have a multicultural center and the cabinet level DEIA. And, many colleges are thinking about how these 2 initiatives can work together. One doesn't negate the need for the other, but really seeing where these overlaps are and how they can support each other in the programming.
Well, thank you. First off, thank you, Heather. I want to say that I think these are some wonderful resources that our community colleges here are going to be able to take back and really dive through a little bit and see exactly how they can try to utilize some of these resources. And I want to thank everybody here that has been able to join us today. Want to just let you know that we're going to be continuing a little bit of this conversation. This is going to lead us into our next peer learning network discussion, which is going to be taking place actually next week on June 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern. So feel free to take a look there. We're going to be talking about just reflecting on best practices, especially over, you think throughout the pandemic, how a lot of things have changed. We're going to think about and talk about what have you started, stopped, and continued as you've transitioned through and have been working through. So come ready to collaborate and share some of your experiences there, and be sure to register. And then also our next webinar is going to be taking place on June 15th. And the topic is going to be on rural health grants. So be sure to register for that one as well. I've put both of the links there in the chat. We hope that you can be able to register and make your way for those webinars and those discussions. But again, thank you so much for taking the time today. Heather, thank you again for sharing all of this wonderful insight and all of these resources. And again, we're going to be putting up the recording and the presentation here within the next week. So again, thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And take care.